How's it going, everybody? Fernando, the Lone Star Halo, joined here by the one, the only, Mr. Fox. Hopefully,
Hey,
he's feeling foxy because we're about to have a foxy subject. What is it? Find out up next.
hey, you are now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast, sponsored in part by Noble L Works over on 1621 South Sinclair, where you can get discounts by just mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Drink discounts on us, baby. And also by 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets. The price you see is the price you get, and you also get 10% additionally off in the Apply Now code once you order your tickets just by mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show.
In the land of last shores, I play my part with the halos in the infield. I'll make my mark. I'm the Lone Star Halo, shining bright tonight. In a sea of rangers, I'll stand and fight with the halos in the outfield under stadium lights. From Texas to Anaheim, we'll soar to new heights. We'll soar to new heights.
Hey, it's Todd Fox now on the Lone Star Halo episode here. As I'm checking in here, I'm Todd Fox with the other host of this show, the Lone Star Halo, on the Heedy Daily Podcast Show. I'm thrown off by that comment right there. Thanks, Fernando.
Yeah, do you want to tell people who are only on audio what it said?
Yeah, it said Todd likes feet. So I think that's been firmly established on my post game. Thanks, Fernando. And then
I had to have some fun.
shameless plug, listen to Grinding True Crime. It's been revamped. So check it out wherever you listen to podcasts or watch it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, you've been grinding away with that for a long time too. You and it's Matty Matt, right?
Yeah, me, Maddie, Matt, and some guest hosts have been here and there. Now Randy's been added to the show. So we had a mix up in our group. So it's been changed around a little bit.
Well, definitely check that out. I know you guys. I know you guys put a lot of effort into the show.
Absolutely.
But yes, before we get into it, 5-star review. Tell your friends, tell your family. Follow us on all the social medias. You guys already know the drill. Love you. Appreciate you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Perry Manassian. We've had some time to marinate on it. It was today's question of the day. How are we feeling now that we've had a little bit of time to digest the news? So we've let our opinions on the front office and Perry Manassian known over the last, 3 years we've been doing this show, working on year 4. So, Todd, how are you feeling about him signing for, was it a 2-year extension?
2-year and a club option third. So
Okay.
we could see him through 2027.
Yeah, so now that we've had some time to marinate on it, how are you feeling? Do you like the move? Do you think it was a rush decision?
I think a lot of our Halo family, the ones that aren't myopic AIM 830 listeners, have agreed with us. I think we're in that mode where we see how he drafts really good. We see how he's also handcuffed really good. And, I am under the impression, as you have, because we talked about it so many times, that this dude should be making more deals. He should be making shrewder deals, and he has the ability to. And I think signing guys, too, he's missed the boat because of who's in charge. And a lot of fans are saying the same thing we are is, hey, until Artie's gone, we can't really see the true potential of whoever's in there. And I think I'm firmly sold on that until Artie can clear his hands and wipe his hands of things and just let people run the organization. I'm pretty sure, Perry can do some things that really could be fantastic for this organization, but it's just a shame we're only getting bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. It doesn't matter who the general manager is at the end of the day, because he or potentially she one day is only able to do whatever the direct front office, the head honchos, allow them to do. We had mentioned the woman that was let go by the Marlins. We were all like, hey, that'd be great. Bring her here. Look what she did over in Miami. There's a lot of Angels fans who, wanted someone like that. But she wanted like creative control. And that's something that this organization, I don't think would allow any of their general managers to do. Artie Moreno, sure, he's loosened up the purse strings at various times if he really wants a guy. But that's not how it should be. Typically, in a well-run organization, if the general manager wants something, they go to the owner and they're like, hey, we really need an outfielder right now. Our organizational depth isn't very deep in that position. Trout's been getting hurt. Ward just isn't cutting it for us. How about we go out there and get Juan Soto? And then the owner would be like, hey, that's a good idea, Perry. You know what? We can use that. And plus, Artie, we can sell a bunch of tickets and merchandise. Artie would be like, man, that's a great idea, Perry. Here's the checkbook. That's how it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be, hey, you know what we really need? Let's give Cody Bellinger a 14-year contract with an option for 10 more years, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, there's three different kinds of owners, and you brought up a good point right there. Where I'm just gonna piggyback off of that. There's three different kind of owners. There's the owner that says, okay, I trust all my people. I know they're gonna make the right moves, and if they don't, that's fine. But for the most part, they will. And that means a general manager can go to that set owner and be like, hey, look, we want Juan Soto for this many years. I believe he's a important cog to this team. He's going to help us for years to come, and he's going to win you a championship. And that might be all he needs to do to sell it to the owner to say, okay, here he goes. Tell me how much you need. And then you have the other owner where you may run that same statement by him, but the owner says, well, what about this guy? Because what if he helps us here? Because he's a fan. He knows baseball. And then the general manager will come back and be like, look, we need pitching, but we need Soto more. And then all of a sudden the owner's like, begrudgingly, okay, let's do it. And then you have those that are like Artie Moreno that are either like no first, or Artie, like you said, he'll come with Juan Soto and be like, yeah, but let's get 3 Kevin Pillar's. Like
he goes, woo! 3 Kevin Pillar's, woo!
Hey, have you checked the waiver wires yet? Woo!
Yeah. Kevin Pillar, he's my favorite player. Woo! I mean, we got him off the waiver wire, so.
Exactly. But yeah, I totally agree, bro. And I think that's the owner that we have. We have number 3 right there, dude.
Yeah. So there's some strengths that Perry has, right? I don't think we can bag his drafting. There's some guys, sure, like you can be like, well, he hits on 1 or 2 guys a year. Okay, but 1 or 2 guys a year is actually pretty damn good. I mean, you think back to his first year and, Sam Bachman, Kai Busch, I mean, those were guys who had come up and, Kai Busch just made it in the majors with the White Sox. So we'll see what he turns into, but obviously that doesn't directly affect us. Sam Bachman has shown flashes of greatness, or at least that he can be a serviceable bullpen piece. And he just really hasn't given himself the opportunity yet because of the injuries. Chase Silseth can be fine. I truly believe that he could one day be a very solid number 3, number 4 in a rotation type piece. But he's got to get there first.
Correct.
He has to show that he can continuously be that guy. Neto and Shanuel, those were 2 great hits. There's a very good chance that Zach Neto will be the best draft pick in the 2022 MLB draft. Very good chance of that. We've seen his glove be Gold Glove caliber. He's proven to be clutch already. So hopefully that's something that keeps going. You know who else apparently is clutch? Shohei Ohtani. I wouldn't have fucking known by seeing him as an Angel. But all of a sudden he decides to hit a game-winning grand slam out of nowhere to be, go ahead.
No, it's still 2 out of 17 this year. I mean,
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, a blind squirrel catches a nut, or a broken clock is right twice a day, or in this case, hits 2, game-winning hits. But still, what I'm saying is, of course, he gets an opportunity with them. And I don't know if you saw any of the comments of those videos, like on Twitter, but all the comments were like, well, at least here he has an opportunity to hit game-winning home runs. He never got that in Anaheim.
Well, I mean, they do have a point there. But he did have some opportunities, and the opportunities he had, he never came through. But let me ask you this, Fernando.
Sure.
When it comes to general managers the last 2 years, or our general manager the last 2 years, do you agree with a statement that I seen the other day, and I've kind of like talked a little bit about on the post game, but do you agree that last year's trade deadline moves were rushed and forced? Like, do you think that's more of Perry style doing that kind of trading last year, or is this year's trading style, although we know he could have made more moves but didn't for whatever reason, whether it was asking for too much, whether it was already saying no, which do you categorize more as Perry actually being in control more, or type of Perry moves is what I'm trying to say?
Well, I wasn't going to respond because you didn't say reactions like our boy Lee Caxel, but either way, I'll give you my reaction. Here's the thing. So I just complimented Perry on his ability to draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's clearly his strength. And it's also the strength of his department. What is not Perry's strength is trades. His trading history is atrocious. Mm-hmm. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are immediately like, well, hey, Logan O'Hoppe. Okay, yes. Logan O'Hoppe, so far, been a great trade for both sides. The Phillies have benefited, and we've benefited. We needed a catcher, but you know what? We also need an outfielder. And Brandon Marsh would be very helpful on this team right now. But if we didn't have Logan O'Hoppe, who's our catcher? Max Stassi still?
Correct.
So, you know what I mean? So it's one of those. It truly did work out for both sides, but man, oh man, would it have been great if we could have kept Marsh and gotten O'Hoppe. But yeah, trades aren't his strength. I mean, look at last year. We gave up Jeremiah Jackson for Dominic Leone. We, of course, gave up Kai Bush and Edgar Cuero for Lucas Giolito. Greatest trade of all time, right? Absolutely love that trade. That's on for in all seriousness. I'm sure everyone got the sarcasm there. That is going to go down as one of the worst trades of all time.
The only thing that would have made that trade even better is if we would have re-signed Giolito, and then what happened in Boston. So,
okay, but here's the thing. At least if that happens, you gave yourself like a chance to make the deal worth it.
Correct, but I mean, I think the whole arm trouble in Boston came from our side. I feel we left a stain on Giolito, and he took it to Boston.
Yeah, he took a shit stain underwear over there. I'm trying to see if Jeremiah Jackson's been up at the pros at all this year.
I haven't heard nothing about him.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look that up while we're talking to see if it's even how bad.
But the point being is, do you feel that his skills are more set to this year's trade deadline, or they were last year's in dumb fuckery?
Dude, he's batting 199.
Typical
in Double A.
Typical Angel.
That's terrible. 199 in Double A when you've been playing like in the minors that long. Dude, he's been in the minors since 2018. That's crazy.
That's almost like how bad I felt, I think, a couple of years ago when I saw Torrey Hunter's son still floundering down there. I'm all, time to hang him up, boy.
Yeah. I remember on MLB The Show, I would always keep him like on my roster, and he was always like a 50-something. You know what I mean? Always down there, but I was just always like, oh, I can't cut Torrey Hunter's son.
No, you got to keep him. He's awesome, like his dad. Nope.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think. What other good trades have come from Perry Minasian besides the Logan O'Hoppe trade? I mean, there's been a couple that have been average, but like it's just not his strength.
Yeah, I would say his best moves have been, I mean, the O'Hoppe obviously, but the best moves have been these guys they got this year. I mean, it's still yet to be seen if they're going to do damage up in the majors, but from outside looking in, it looks like great moves for two for $6.
Well, look, and say what you want about Billy Epler, but it's funny because Billy Epler couldn't draft worth a damn. I mean, you know, it took Taylor Ward forever to just become a serviceable major leaguer. No one even said average major league. I just mean serviceable. Because say what you want about Dumbo. At least he's serviceable. He's
Yeah.
going to go out there. He's going to do the bare minimum on defense. I mean, he's typically not a defensive liability because he doesn't do anything. You know, if the ball hits him, he'll block it, and that's about it. He's not going to catch it, but he'll block it. He'll get one hit a game. And if not, he'll get 2 one game, then he won't get anything for 2 games. You know what I mean? So he's very much like that. Who else did Billy Epler draft that was average? I mean, Joe Adele is average, but he had a lot of hype around him, and he just hasn't lived up to it.
He drafted Detmers, didn't he?
Yeah, that might have been his last year, right? 2020. But now I think about Billy Epler trades. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. The Andrelton Simmons trade was one of the best trades in probably Major League Baseball during that decade, during the 2010s. Because we got him in 2016. We got him for Sean Newcomb and Eric Ibar. Eric Ibar, it was a perfect time to trade him. There was a lot of Angels fans who were upset, but he went to Atlanta and didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Sean Newcomb.
Yeah.
Never amounted to anything. And we were all upset that we traded him. We're like, man, how could we get trade that guy? He's going to be a great pitcher. Never did anything. And Andrelton Simmons was one of the best shortstops in baseball for that, 5-6 years that he was here. And then same thing. We let him walk, and he didn't do anything with Minnesota or the Cubs. And now he's out of Major League Baseball. So Parker Bridwell, 2017, we traded a player to be named later for him, and he almost single-handedly got us to the playoffs in 2017.
I think you could tell a lot by Epler. I crapped on him a lot thinking that he didn't know what he was doing here, but I think he fell under the same umbrella, handicapped by the owner.
Yep.
What he's done with the Mets and an open checkbook, he's gotten, maybe Mets fans would know maybe he hasn't drafted that great, but I just know the guys that they've been running up there, you kind of question how they were playing this year, but they're in the thick of the playoff race right now, and you got to attribute some of that to Billy Epler.
So, I mean, like this, I don't think he's there anymore. But, the framework of what he did. I mean, because you look at this team, and half of it's Billy Epler built, the other half of it's Perry. Because everyone's like, well, Perry's a great drafter, but it's like, okay, Shanuel and Neto were his draft picks. And then you got Ben Joyce out of the bullpen. So, you have a couple of these other guys who are, supportive players. They're part of the supporting cast. And then you have Ohapa, who he traded for. But besides that, like Luis Rengifo, that's a Billy Epler trade. Patrick Sandoval, when he was healthy, that's a Billy Epler trade. Taylor Ward, that's a Billy Epler draft pick. Billy Epler signed Mike Trout to that lifetime contract, and say what you want about it. But I mean, I guess by default, you would consider him a Billy Epler piece, even though he wasn't drafted by him. Right field, Adele, Billy Epler. You have Perry trading for Mickey Moniak.
Canning was Epler too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Canning was also Epler. So, I mean, you have the framework of both general managers who have built what the Angels are today. And unfortunately, that's a whole lot of monkey shit. You know what I mean? This organization hasn't given us much, unfortunately. But it's very tough. Like if you were to tell me in a vacuum to grade the first 4 years of Perry Manassian's, tenure with the Angels, I think it's a C, bro. It's, part of it's okay. The other part of it's not. It's kind of like if you were to ask me like, hey, what would you grade? Honestly, actually, I think I'm giving Billy Epler like a C plus, maybe even a B minus. I give him, I think, a better grade for those 4 years than I do Perry. Because we also forgot Billy Epler was a large part of the reason why Shohei Ohtani came here. He had a relationship with him in New York when the Yankees were trying to get him years before.
Yeah, I would have to say I'm agreeing with you as far as giving both of them a C, but I have to also put an asterisk next to it and give him an incomplete in all actuality for both. I think
Okay, but like, take out the Artie Moreno. Let's just pretend in a
can't.
vacuum.
I
Okay,
can't.
but let's pretend in a vacuum here, because think about it like this: they're both having to deal with that common denominator. It's not like one of those guys had to deal with it and the other one didn't. If you have a shitty supervisor at work, and your previous supervisor was great, he or she was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then they left,
Mhm.
and now you're stuck with the crappy supervisor. I mean, you can't compare them because they're two completely different reigns. This is the same thing, dude. Where they both had to deal with Artie. Difference is, say what you want, but Artie has made less giant signings under Perry. So in theory, that's a little bit less handcuffing that Perry's had to deal with in theory. But he's also had to deal with some tighter purse strings.
Yeah, true. I think right now I'm with you. I think I would have to lean towards Zeppler and a little bit higher. I did think Perry was going to blow him out of the water. I really did. But when you sit back and then it's always there, the Artie thing. But if you were to just say, okay, yeah, like you said, they're working with what they got to work with, I'd have to give the nod slightly to freaking Epler.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, we're comparing 10 pounds of poop to 10.2 pounds of poop. You know what I mean? Like, either way, we're talking about no playoff appearances. We're
My
talking about no legitimate success.
Well, yeah, my only thing, bro, is I just wish the elephant was out of the room and to actually see what the Epler 10-year could have been. Maybe we
Yeah.
don't miss the playoffs those years. Maybe he's making more Andrelton Simmons moves. Maybe Perry doesn't unload the roster last year, like stuff like that. Like maybe we're in a better spot, like hindsight's always what it is. But yeah, I mean, you can only grade it on how you see it. And in my perfect world, I'm giving him an incomplete because of Artie. But if we're doing it this way, yeah, I'd give the nod, like I said, to Epler.
Yeah, and I mean, I wish I could have seen, and I think all legitimate Angels fans, and almost everyone who's listening to this is, I think we all wish we could have seen a Perry Manassian 2024 trade deadline that was all him. Perry, you got the keys to the show, man. You got the keys to the Cadillac. You do whatever you want to do. Because, this roster looks a lot different, I think, if Perry has creative ability at the trade deadline.
I think either one of them, we would. I don't think we'd be on the stretch. I think at least Epler would have squeezed out 1 year in the postseason, and I think Perry would have did that already by now too. And I think that's the biggest shame. I don't think we should be on a 9-year drought right now.
Yeah, Tim, he's going to be 10. But here's the thing, man. Last year, we saw Perry go all in. And nobody can say we didn't because, I mean, we gave up what little pieces we did have.
Yeah.
How nice would it be right now to have Edgar Cuero?
Oh, yeah. Or even Kai Bush right now. We could be seeing.
Or Kai Bush. We really could use a guy like Kai Bush. A young arm.
And that's the problem. Everyone's like, oh, we got Silseth, we got this guy, we got that guy, we got Bachman. All of them went down,
Yeah.
So it's like you can never have enough pitching. And even with that, like I said, I've given credit where credit's due. The bullpen's been great. Starting pitching's been as good as it can be and better with the pieces they've been given. But still, I mean, I would have loved to have Cuero's bat right now because you could have used him in there.
Yeah. I'm also legitimately worried about this starting rotation going into next year. And the reason for that is because of the health. I mean, health has just about always been an issue. And yeah, pitching this year per se isn't the biggest issue, but health is the biggest issue. I mean, we can't say that. Give credit where it's due to guys like Soriano, who, I know he's been dealing with the injury bug lately too. But, he was very solid for what he was able to give this team. He really was.
Yeah, and I think shutting it down was the smartest thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Season's over. You already showed that you can be a high-impact pitcher to a rotation, possibly a number 2, a good number 3. So yeah, I liked what he performed this year, and I look forward to seeing him next year. Hopefully, there's nothing, no scar issues, no like or any kind of like damage. They say there's no damage, it's just fatigue. So yeah, there's no reason for him to come back this year. Just do your off-season workouts and get ready for next year.
Yeah, I want us this offseason to get a solid, there's no aces that are going to be available. I mean, unless Garrett Cole hits the open market if he opts out, which he might, but I don't think he'd be coming here. I think he'd probably go back to New York and just renegotiate a contract.
There's literally only Burns and Bueller, and that's it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I would like to take a shot on Bueller. I
Me
would.
too. Me too.
I could see him coming here, and he's got enough stuff where I think he could succeed. And the good news, he's been there on a big stage before. I'm not saying give him a massive deal because of his injury risk. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But I mean, 3 years, 4 years, maybe the first 2 years are kind of like, we'll give you 10 the first year because we don't know how much you're going to give us that first year. We'll give you 20 the second year, and then we'll give you an option for a third. That's like a mutual option. And we'll give you like 25 on that one. That way it's like, first year, we're not going to get too much. You're still probably going to be warming up to the water.
Incentive laden.
Yeah, incentive. There you go. Incentive laden deal. But we'll see. We have plenty of time to talk about that in the future. Last thing I want to ask you, were you triggered at all about the Shohei Ohtani joining the 40-40 club kind of thing? Just because, he never did it here. And I don't know if you saw the tweet that I put out, and it got a lot of engagement, a lot of negative stuff coming from Dodger fans, as you would imagine. Like, another typical Angels fan doesn't know ball, blah, 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 blah.
No, I mean, I wasn't triggered. I was expecting him to have a big season. I honestly don't think he's having the biggest season that I thought he would. I thought he'd be a massive improvement. He's really not done much more than he did here. His numbers are eerily similar to past seasons. So the only thing is up is the stolen bases and stuff like that, doubles, whatever. It's like, to me, it's like, wake me up when September ends and they're in October, when they fail time in and time out. The only time I'll get bitter, bro, or triggered is if this team wins a World Series in 162. We know that hasn't happened. I know it's not going to happen. So I'm fine with it. I don't care. He can hit 600 home runs. I don't give a shit.
So let's see. In 128 games, he has 100 runs right now, 148 hits, 6 triples, 41 home runs, 94 RBIs. And, I mean, this is sure to probably be his career high. His career high is 100 in 2021. But, he's at 94 right now. He's going to surpass that, bearing any injuries. He struck out 129 times. That's still a pretty good amount. He's batting 292. His on-base percentage is what's crazy at 378.
Yeah, he gets walked a lot too, and he works walks. But the thing is with him, it's like he's going to hit his home runs. He's hit 50 with us before. So it's like it's nothing earth-shattering to me. It's just like whatever, dude. Like I'm not really worried about it.
His career high was 46.
Well, 46. Well, close to 50.
46 in 2021 was his career high.
But think about it. So he did that with nobody around him here in Anaheim, right? He's won
2021, Trout was hurt a chunk of that
dude,
year.
everybody's been hurt. Dude, so like when he hit home runs, he got RBIs. He did it with nobody around him. He's got a freaking all-star team around him. He should be hitting a lot better. Like I'm going to be that fan. I'm going to be the guy. It's going to be like, why aren't you hitting 330? Why isn't your on-base percentage 400? You know what I mean? Like to me, he's underperformed.
I just think it's crazy. And this was what I said on the tweet. And there's a lot of Angels fans who did agree with me. There's a pretty good amount of support we got for the tweet. I had said it's triggering to me how when he was rehabbing here, so, he had his Tommy John the offseason of 2018. He won the Rookie of the Year. He got shut down from pitching pretty early in the year, if memory serves correctly. I think it was before the All-Star break. He was no longer pitching, and he was a hitter only. He had the Tommy John surgery, and then in 2019, he was a DH only, right? In 2020, he tried to pitch 2 games, And I think he legitimately had an infinity ERA, both of those games. He didn't get a single out if memory serves correctly. So he got shut down in 2020 as a pitcher. And when I say that he had a horrendous year batting in 2020, I mean this guy was dog water. He batted like 180 something if memory serves correctly. He was under 200, I think. He had a really bad year that year. And if he wasn't the 200, it was super low. But all that to say that when he was here in rehabbing, this was before he was Shohei Ohtani. Because, yeah, he had a pretty good rookie year, but it wasn't great. It wasn't amazing. You know, his first couple outings as a pitcher were amazing. You know, he had the good outing in Oakland, and then he almost had the no-hitter like a week later at home. And then his pitching, he kind of got lit up against like the Red Sox, and he had the blister issues, and then he got shut down. Like, I remember he didn't get a pitch very much because it was like, oh, he'd get lit up, and it was like, oh, he's got a blister. He's got a blister.
Well, you bring it up the pitching side. If he comes out next year and he's like, I don't know, 19-4 with like a 2 ERA, I think that would trigger me there because then I'll be like, where was that shit when he was with us? You know, how come he's pitching in New York in the middle of summer when you wouldn't do that with us? That type of deal. If he doesn't get the same perks, if he doesn't get the same perks he had here, the same, oh, it's different rules for thee, not for me. If he's able to pitch on a 5-day rotation, not a 6-day like he was given here, if he's able to not pitch on day games because he doesn't want to, and he messes with the other pitchers, then I'll be like, well, okay, that's just Shohei. But if he's sticking to their game plan,
yeah, he's all of a sudden a team player.
Yeah, then screw him to the highest power.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I will 100% agree with that. If that's the case, I will definitely be here saying F you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah, exactly. Screw Shohei.
Yeah. So just a little bit of talk about our ex. In the words of JoJo Siwa, dream gets on my podcast.
Yeah.
How about my exes? Did you ever see that video?
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Heard the meme of it.
Yeah, that meme's everywhere.
Yep. But that's all I got for tonight, my man.
Yeah. We'll wrap this one up on a quicker one.
Yeah. We'll have more content. I just got off super late and Lone Star waited up for me. He's in Texas right now, so I appreciate and applaud you. Thank you, kind sir.
No problem. Hopefully we can do it again later this week.
Absolutely. All right, so Hot Box and
the Lone Star Halo. Follow us. 5-star review. Tell your friends.
And work on your finger pointing.
Yeah, I'm not good.